You are listening to a Reverie original podcast. Please download the Reverie app to get the best in queer film, TV series, music, and podcasts. Stream out loud.
Hello. Hi. I realized we didn't say who was going to intro the show, so I'm doing it.
Oh God, let me drink this alcohol.
Oh man. Don't you drop that alcohol. Hi everybody. Welcome to Podcast of Color, the podcast where 4 trash bags of color come together to make sense of the world. I am Rakeem. And I am Fenty Beauty's Pro Filter in the shade. Where is it? I thought I had it. Damn, I was trying to be all slick and thought I was 480. Yes.
What is that?
Yes.
Is that like a highlighter?
No, that's my foundation shade. I'm the desk I'm recording at has my foundation sitting right next to it.
Oh.
So I thought I would be that. It's also like very like ASMR-y, like, you know, you can just be like,
mm-hmm.
You know. So this week we're going to be relieving you of all your stress.
Have you? Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Be quiet. And shut the fuck up. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to use Rihanna's makeup to, you know, get rid of all that tension in your life. Your co-workers have you fucked up.
Okay. All right.
And your boss owes you vacation hours. But it's okay. I'm done.
Okay. I'm Baze.
I'm Renee. Oh.
I'm John. Happy Fleet Week.
Oh God.
Oh.
Is that a real thing?
It's a real thing. It's this whole Labor Day week.
Oh, with like is it with like the military?
Yes, but also, you know.
But also your own fleet.
Also Fleet Week, yes.
Your own personal Fleet Week.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and so for Fleet Week, we have a special guest.
Yay!
Writer.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Okay. Maya is here. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself before we jump into the question of color?
Hi, I'm Maya. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a Scorpio sun and moon. And
Oh.
yeah. You want to post up or what?
Already? Oh my God! It begins. Ooh.
Huh?
Rakeem loves
Y'all hear
Scorpios. Rakeem loves Scorpios.
Yes, I'm a sun, moon, and Mercury, if you must know.
Oh.
Libra rising, and I do write. I'm working on calling myself a writer, but yeah, I write stuff and I cook stuff.
Ooh.
Thank you.
You have a beautiful voice, Maya.
I'm putting it on. This isn't me.
Oh, okay.
Y'all hear something?
Okay, so then the question of color, you want to say it, John?
Yeah. Actually, this came from one of our friends and listeners, Ramon. And
Hi, Ramon.
They were asking.
Happy belated birthday.
Oh yeah, happy belated birthday. They were asking us, while we are transforming into a Sailor Scout, what song are we transitioning to? Does anyone want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
My song would definitely be Anna Wintour by Azealiaball-Z.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like I transform to that song every morning when I'm like getting ready to have to deal with life in general. So I think that would be mine. How about you?
Oh.
Go.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Mine would be Warrior by Chloe and Halle.
Oh,
It's a good one.
I don't know why. I thought
I don't know why. I thought you were gonna say Kelly Clarkson, and then I was like, does Kelly Clarkson even have a song named Warrior?
I don't know where. Yeah, I was like, what?
I don't know where that came from. I'm sorry.
Doesn't Katy Perry have a song called Warrior?
I would not know
That's
that.
Roar, I think.
Oh, sorry.
You said war?
That question was directed towards Rakeem.
Roar.
Oh,
Rarier?
Towards the Katy Cat.
I'm not a Katy cat. Fuck you, Renee.
Okay, just kidding.
God damn it. I would transform to. I feel like I just kind of want like just the horns for "Run Away with Me," but like on loop.
Ooh.
And then yeah, you know what I mean. Just like the.
That's hella artistic. I'm hella seeing that and hearing that and feeling that.
Thank you. You know,
You're welcome.
And from a Scorpio, that means a lot. So
I'm so affirmative right now.
no, that was like positive, coming from a place of love. You know.
Absolutely.
No, really, nothing but good vibes. So yeah, that's what I would do. I would love some like Carly Rae, Carly Slade Jepsen in the back. You know.
Oh man, that was gonna be my second choice. Cut to the Feeling. But...
What was your first choice? Negro Swan.
Oh my god, what? Why would you say that?
What?
I would transform to Grimes and Janelle Monáe's song "Venus Fly."
Oh wow, that's a good choice.
Yeah,
That's a good
That's
choice.
so good.
It makes me want to like death drop all the time. And like
that video is you in song form.
oh,
I mean,
thank you.
video
What a
form.
compliment.
That really is.
It really
That's like
is.
very John aesthetic. Holy shit.
Oh,
I can
that's
see
sweet.
that. Oh, what's yours? I'm gonna ask.
Mine would either be this song by Rina Sawayama called 10, 20, 40
Oh,
or
yes.
All of the Stars by SZA and the other.
Oh, that's a beautiful one.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be really that would be nice.
Yeah.
I like the second
I don't
one.
know.
Super magical.
Yeah.
So like, as the fellow hood rat on the show, what's that first song? Who?
Which one?
Who's the
The
first one?
first song you said.
Oh, the first one, 10, 20, 40 by Rina Sawayama. It's really good. I don't know how to explain it other than that's who it is. But
No,
She's a new girl.
yeah, she's a new girl. She's fresh.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's like, so
I saw,
you
her
just gonna-
pretty.
I saw her perform a few months ago. She was really good.
Really? Oh, is she good? Okay,
Yeah,
because I'm
she's a
going
really
to
good
see
performer.
her on the 20th, but I saw like videos of her doing it live and it wasn't it. And so you're saying it was good.
I thought she was good. I mean, I knew it was gonna be very like art faggy when I went, so like
Oh my
that's
God.
what I expected. I wasn't
just her
expecting like
tone,
Beyonce
her
production.
voice.
Oh, I thought she sounded good. I don't know.
Okay, maybe it was off night.
I really like that genre of
Absolutely.
music, art faggy.
It's very. I love her videos
Yeah.
too.
like
I know.
Sophie,
And I'm ready for
like,
us to have our like a Japanese pop star that's not like J-pop.
Oh, she's
Absolutely.
Japanese.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh yeah,
amazing.
she's Japanese. She's giving me very much Britney. Raina said she was giving her Paula Abdul.
Oh what?
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
I'm gonna check her out.
Yeah, and she's
She's
like
cute.
her aesthetic is very like early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
Oh,
Oh my god.
when life was so good. Oh,
Yeah. Was it good?
well, like early, like 2000.
Early 2000s.
Like,
I'm talking about like the year 2000.
early 2000.
Y2K.
Oh my god, I remember Y2K. I really remember going in my room
Oh my God, bitch, I
and
was
turning
scared.
on. I was playing Smash Brothers. I was like, bitch, this is the end. I'm not gonna play video games ever again. So
I just went to bed early because I was like, I want to be asleep when it happens. I remember I was like, how old was I? I was like 7, 8. Nah.
I remember my grandma was so scared she came to sleep over her because she was like, this is gonna be it. Like, we really thought, niggas really thought it was the end.
My mom, nobody in my house did. None of the adults in my house thought it was the end. I just was like, I saw it on the news, and I was like, oh my god, we're gonna die. I also remember being scared by there was like a news thing where they were saying that witches were real based off of Charmed, and I hadn't been allowed to see Charmed because I was like witchcraft. So I was like terrified that witches were gonna come to life.
I wasn't allowed witchcraft either.
Yeah, my mom put all my Harry Potter books in the trunk of her car because she didn't want the devilry in the
They
house.
didn't even let us read it. Did you get to
Wait.
watch Twitches?
Tell
What?
us a story about Twitches, please.
Did you get to watch Twitches?
That.
Tell
Those
the story.
Twitches.
Wait, Maya's
It's
gonna
Teen
tell us.
Witches.
Yeah, with Tia and Tamara Mowry.
Oh no, I wasn't allowed to watch that.
Okay, well, I got to. And here's my story. Here's how I did it. Yeah, my parents didn't let us do Harry Potter, none of that shit. I wanted a skull backpack, like with a bunch of skulls on it for 8th grade. My mom wouldn't let me. It was just very much no witchcraft, no nothing. And Twitches came out, and I was like, y'all, like, I hear you. Okay, fuck Harry Potter, but like Twitches is Tia and Tamara. Like, please. And so I begged for like a week and they wouldn't budge. And then the day that shit came out, I said, Mom, please let me watch Twitches. And it was like 5 o'clock and the shit came on 8/7 Central. I remember it like it was yesterday. And she was like, you can watch it if you write down that you won't do witchcraft like front and back of the paper. And so, and both me and my two brothers had to do it. So it's like 6 o'clock and that shit comes on at 7. And we had little desks in our garage. And so me and my little ass brothers are like scribbling away. Like the clock is ticking. These, like, my brothers were like maybe 5 and 7. And I'm like, go faster. Like, come on. Like, this shit comes on in 45 minutes. My little brothers like can't even hold a pencil. I'm like, get it together. Twitches.
I'm dead.
But yeah, I got to watch that shit because I did what I had to do.
But you know the crazy thing about Twitches though was that like white people were mad because the books, they weren't black. They were white girls.
Really? I didn't know there was books.
There were books, yes. Okay, listen, this is the one thing where I could be like, oh, I read this before it got popular when I was like 10. Like, my cousin had the Twitches books, and it was like, it was these 2 white girls, and like one of them had like purple hair, like, and they were not black whatsoever. And I remember when that came out, that was like one of my like putting my toe into the pond of racism because white people were pissed. And I was like, how are y'all mad at Tia and Tamara? Like, I mean, well,
That's sister and sister. How you mad?
so, you know, I mean, but I understand why people are mad at Tamara now, but,
Well, yeah.
but that's a discourse for a whole other show.
Wait, yeah, someone needs to catch me up on that another time because I don't.
Wait, but
Yeah.
okay, have y'all seen when she didn't realize her Caribbean ancestors were slaves? And they had to explain that to her? She's like, I know they came here. I know they came here from the Caribbean. And she was like, yeah. And then where'd they come from there? And she burst into tears.
Oh no.
She didn't know. I thought that was
I honestly
funny.
stopped paying attention to anything she was said or done.
The
Like,
best
for the
part,
past 2 years.
the best thing is when BET posted happy birthday to this and happy
But only
birthday
to
to Tia
Tia.
Mowry.
Oh my god.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
great.
All right.
Ugh.
So I think that's going to wrap up the intro. I don't know why I was going to say the intercourse.
Whoa. Whoa.
Whoa. Whoa.
That's how I finish sex.
Whoa.
All right, I
You're
guess
just
we're going to
like-
wrap it up.
You gotta
there.
be like, all right.
All right.
All right, we'll see you on the minutes of color.
Yawn.
Well.
What is... Oh, well, actually, let me not do that jovially because we're going to talk about some hard shit right now. We didn't talk about it last week, but it was reported that 9-year-old Jamel Miles came out as gay to his mother and then 4 days later committed suicide.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Does anybody else? I don't know. Does somebody else want to say something?
So this happened in Denver, Colorado, and the mom's name is Leah Pierce, and Jamel came out to his mom, and then she said that he was like really scared, and then he came back from school, and I think he told his sister that kids were bullying him. And I think the next few days later, she found him in his room. I haven't found on any articles on how, but I don't think that's going to be beneficial for anyone to know. But it's just, I know that her statement really resonated with me when she said that she wants to have more accountability for bullying. She says the children should be held accountable, and the parents should be held accountable too, because they're either teaching them or treating their kids like the way that they're treating Jamel. And so, I don't know. That was pretty rough to read from her. I mean, I don't hear a lot of parents, I guess, holding other parents accountable for this. I always hear about the kids. And I guess it's true, because, you know, you learn, this is a learned thing. And I wish more parents, would teach their kids about, you know, respecting other kids, however they identify.
Right.
Anyone else have anything to say?
Okay. That was really rough to read. We're looking back at like my childhood, and I feel like the childhood of a lot of queer folks I know, like I'm very surprised that I'm surprised that it's something that really didn't cross my mind like that when I was that young. It didn't cross my mind until I was like older, like a teenager. But like, it's like fucked. I mean, it's fucked that it had to cross my mind at all. But it's like fucked when it's like happening to like a really, really little kid like that. So. Right.
I've never heard of. I think this is the youngest incident I've heard of. 9 years old. I don't think I've heard of anything younger. And it's really tragic to think that, like, this is the option that they're considering, you know, as kids.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. I mean, stuff like this is just really hard to kind of talk about for me. It's just, I don't know. You just think about how many parents, like, don't, you know, communicate with their children, and then, you know, stuff like this happens, and then also the fact that people at that age don't feel like they're able to talk to your like the one person you're supposed to be able to talk to, who's like in charge of I guess protecting you and raising you, and it's just rough. Kids are shitty, and it's just like when you have people in the White House saying stuff what they're saying and that kind of thing, and you just hear people say like, oh, it's just rhetoric or whatever, and like people want to talk about civility and stuff, and then like this happens. So I don't even know what else to say at this point, because it's just frustrating. Like, you know, we've already said it. So
I was like, it's probably irresponsible of me last week. I kind of didn't talk about it because it just makes me sad.
It's very sad.
I really don't have anything, I don't think, profound to say about it. Otherwise, that it just makes me sad that happened.
Yeah.
And it also, one thing that was just very interesting to me was like seeing on Twitter, and other places, and even hearing it out loud, some people are like, well, you know, how do you even know what your sexuality is at that young of an age? And it's like, you know, I think it's interesting that you don't, I don't know how you think that like being gay works, right? Like, because if you, a heterosexual person, always knew that you were attracted to the opposite sex,
right?
Why is this such a hard concept to wrap your mind around? Like, why is the idea of people being knowing? Because the reality is that children do have sexualities. Like, and that makes people uncomfortable, but children are sexual beings as well. You know what I mean? Like, when I was a kid, I definitely was like turned on by things. Before pre-puberty was definitely turned on by things. It's not like that is like a fact of life. So people, like children, they still have sexualities. They may not know things, but that doesn't mean that they don't still feel things. So that doesn't negate anything. So this idea that maybe they don't have the words for it. Yeah, I didn't have the language for who I was and what I was at 9, but this is a different world, and kids have access to more information. And this younger generation coming up now has the language and the tools. I think more tools to deal with. I mean, obviously not enough to combat this, but they have they have more tools than I think we did. And so I still knew what I was. So I don't know. It's just, yeah.
No, yeah, that's a good point, Baze, because it's weird that those folks will say these things, and then, like, recently I went to a baby shower, and this kid is like not even 1 year old yet, and he's the baby is assigned male at birth, and the gifts were saying things like "ladies' man" and like, you know what I mean, and like, why are you pushing this on this kid? Like, why is he automatically a ladies' man? And like, all these things are blue, and like, and then you're gonna tell these kids at 9 years old that they don't know what their sexuality is, and you're the one pushing it. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's like they think you have to wait to get your Hogwarts letter or something before you find out you're gay, and it's like, no, like I've always known I was gay.
Okay, but imagine if that's how you actually.
I know. I literally tweeted that. I was like, imagine if there was like RuPaul's school of ciscraft and faggotry.
Ew.
It would be problematic as fuck. But guess
ciscraft?
what? Yeah, ciscraft.
Oh my god!
RuPaul's school of ciscraft and bigotry. I mean, wait.
Absolutely not.
Ciscraft and bigotry
And faggotry.
Ooh.
Oh,
What are you talking? Bigotry.
Sorry.
This is school for the gays and the queers.
sorry. I mean, honestly, both fit, but whatever. It's fine.
That is true. Yes. I wonder what house I would be in. I wonder what the houses would be. Any way.
That's the question of color for next week.
That's the question of color. What's
Each of us have to Oh no, I'm saying it on wax, so we all got to do it. Each of us next week has to come up with a house and RuPaul school of what is it?
Ciscraft and faggotry.
And we will present them. We will present them. Yes, we're going to present them.
Like SIS, not CIS.
I was like, wait,
Okay.
let's backtrack. hold on. Okay, we're all on the same page. I am here.
She's like,
Yeah, sorry.
what am I
think that
doing?
was lost in translation. Ciscraft and now I get why you were saying ciscraft and bigotry. That makes sense.
Okay, sorry. See, we both smart in our own
I was
way.
like, that would make sense
Yeah.
with RuPaul, though. That would make sense. Ciscraft.
That was the joke. but,
Either
like,
one could
no
work
one
with
got it.
RuPaul.
Okay, but each of us have to come up with the house, and next week we'll present them in the minutes of color.
Okay.
All right.
I guess I don't know if this is lightening it up, but I guess there's two bartenders in New York City who are claiming that Cardi B got them jumped because they fucked Offset.
Whoa.
Yeah. So their names are Jade. One is called Jade, and the other one is called, I don't know, and Batty G. They are sisters, and they are bartenders at a strip club here in New York City. I don't remember the name, but allegedly they got like a group of 5 people who were in Cardi's crew, and they jumped these girls in Queens. So I don't know. Like, this is what they claim. Cardi B is saying that this is not true and that they're filing a police report against these women. So I don't know. It's a mess. But I mean, how do y'all? What do y'all think about that? Like, would you get if your man cheated on you? Would you get somebody to jump the guy that he cheated on you with?
No.
What?
I'm just saying that's what happened here. So I don't know. Is that an option that you would explore?
Imagine caring about a man that
my
much.
partner jumped is what I would do, or I would jump my partner myself.
If anybody's jumping, anybody's me jumping you. Yeah, we were posting up. That don't have nothing to do with her. Yeah.
Because it could be anybody. It could if it's not her, it's somebody else.
Wow.
Also, wait, I misspoke. They're
Kang-
filing a police report against Cardi B. Cardi B's not filing a police report. It was them.
Wait, why are they filing it against Cardi B and not the people who jumped them?
Because they're claiming that she's the one that got it started, and apparently she threw some things at them too. So she threw. They're alleging that she maybe threw like bottles or something at them. Yeah, yes, she instigated it, but also like they feel like she threw stuff from afar.
You know what though? I'd believe it because I low key feel like if someone, okay, first of all, jumping someone is so whack. Like that is so uncool to me. But like every time that happens, like I notice y'all always gotta like yell out who you jumping someone for. Like it, like every single time. So I believe that too. They would be stupid enough to talk about Cardi said like the Lannisters send her regard to some shit. I don't know, but like I could see that happening. So hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully it's not true. But yikes.
I think my thing is just like. I don't know. This is so ghetto. This is like literally that hood love that she's always rapping about. Like I feel like this is the life she wanted. She said she wanted a hood nigga, and this is what it is.
Oh.
But I don't know. I think it's kind of sad. Like she has the ring on her finger and she has his baby, but she's still out here. Like if this is true, then she's still getting cheated on by him, and it's like all that for what? Just to have him next to you?
Baze, you said she was throwing something from afar, like she was there when it happened.
They're alleging. Yeah, that's what they're alleging is that she also was throwing things. It was while she was there. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
I forget that she's like 23 because
she's 25. She's 25.
She's like 24, right? 23, 24?
25.
25.
Wow.
Oh, 25. I forget. Yeah.
She's the same age as you. She was born in 92.
Never mind.
What?
Nothing. I was gonna make a point, but it's a self drag now because.
I mean, she does like seem older than what she is, but yeah, I don't know. I just think it looks sad. Like it just looks sad that you're like out here like trying to fight everybody but your man, who's the one that made vows to you.
Right. And that's kind of like a thing I think people get stuck in general is just like continuously being mad at everything but like the person that's putting you in that situation.
Yeah.
And then just because of that, because you're constantly pointing to like outside factors, like you're still stuck there for like a while. So
I just can't even imagine being in a relationship with a man that makes me feel like that.
Mm-mm.
Like I wouldn't like ever make me feel like I'm in a competition with other people like that. Like no thanks.
Mm-mm.
Well, I thought y'all was gonna have more to say about that, but never mind.
You wanted
I really thought we were gonna have a whole discussion about that. The Aretha Franklin homegoing happened last week. Unfortunately, I had to put food on my table, so I was at work. I didn't get to see it, but did you guys see it?
I saw the clips of Ariana singing and Big Sean like responding. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's
No, he responded.
No, not responding, but like was
Reacting?
bouncing his head along or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
He was there.
yeah.
Apparently.
He's from Detroit.
Is that enough of a reason to get invited?
Well, because that's where Aretha.
I guess. Yeah.
No. I know. I'm just saying like that.
I think just like any prominent Detroit people were there. Like it was a lot of people.
But yeah, she like he was like bobbing his head while she was singing, and then when she stopped, I think he gave her. Nobody else was standing up, but she stood up and like gave her a standing ovation. I was like,
oh, that's nice.
See, people just can never forget cancer exes. That's just how it goes.
I'm glad that they still have love for each other.
Wow.
Like that.
Can never forget.
Sorry.
Do you guys know? I saw that there was like 134 or something pink Cadillacs that were there. Does that mean anything? Did I miss something?
At
Black
Aretha's
people
thing?
love Cadillacs.
Or at
so
Aretha's
that's as much as I
homecoming?
know.
Yeah. There was like a bunch of cars that rolled in, and it was like I forget. There was like 100 something of them, and they were pink. I think they were Cadillacs. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm not the correct person to ask because I can't tell you. I actually didn't really see. The only thing I kind of saw was the Ariana Grande thing, but more about the pastor and like what.
Oh yeah.
he
Well, I was going to go
doing.
into that next,
That
but I
was
was
a
just going to
lot.
see if you
That
guys
was a
had
lot.
anything else that you guys had. I don't know, that stood out to you. I mean, I saw clips for Fantasia. She took her shoes off and of
Oh my
course,
God.
just went in.
I miss Fantasia. But I saw before. Oh my God! Literally, I feel like at this point I watch these services just to see Fantasia perform. But
Oh, girl, sweating.
like I know she was. I knew
She was giving facial expression.
I know she did. I know she did the thing where her lip like vibrates uncontrollably.
Yes.
Like it's like it's San Andreas' fault. I know she I know if Fantasia's there, she's doing a few of these. She does a few of the.
Yes. And she was in the church too, girl. She showed out. She took her shoes off. And that little like, it's almost like an old person walk that like preachers and like
Well, it's
gospel singers do, where they like kind of like huddle, like not like wobble across the stage.
Yes, but they put like their hand like on the lower right
hand
side
on
of
their
their back,
back, yeah.
and then they hop like ooh ow, like
Shando. Yes. So she did that. She did all of that. There was facial expressions. There was sweat. There was
She also
bare
does
feet.
the.
She did that. She did
Yeah.
that as well. There was some hobbling. And it was good. It was an enjoyable experience. But I guess then we could talk about the biggest headline, whatever, which was Ariana Grande and her dress, and also the pastor who would not let her go. So she wore a dress. It was quite short. As we know, as me and you know specifically, Rakeem.
Yep.
They don't play that in the church.
No.
And of course, people felt away about her dress being so short. So that was like the main focus initially. Then people started sharing the clips of her talking to the pastor. And he's like holding her and he's like gripping her like side. But like it looks like he's touching her breasts as well.
Yeah.
And she's like, there's like moment, like you can really like if you're watching the video, you can see that she's visibly uncomfortable. Like you can see like when she's
clearly
laughing, she's doing this thing where she like laughs. You know when you like something's not that funny, but you laugh to move yourself away from something. Like she's clearly like laughing so hard
Yeah.
that she can like try to
Absolutely.
twist herself away from him, and like he keeps like
Absolutely.
tightening his grip on her, and it's just gross. And then like his apology, actually laughed at his apology because he said, I wanted to extend an apology to Ariana Grande and the Hispanic community.
I saw that
Hispanic community?
Yes. Look, I said, like, and when people were reading the apology, like, no one
was just like,
pointed that
nobody
out.
told him.
And I was like, oh.
Wait,
Oh,
did it come? Wait, did he think she was Hispanic?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
He even
'Cause the
made
joke
that
was
really
what he
awkward
said was-
comment.
Yeah, when he was like, my daughters were so excited for me to be up here with you because I didn't even know who you were. When I heard Ariana Grande, I thought that was something off the Taco Bell menu.
No.
Yeah, so then he thought that like Latinos were mad about that. Maybe they were, I don't know.
I thought he was apologizing because of the Taco Bell incident to the Hispanic community, and not because Ariana Grande. He thought Ariana Grande is Hispanic. That's hilarious.
Oh, I thought that's why he was I thought he was apologizing because he thought she was Hispanic.
I think he is.
I think I don't. You know what? I don't think he's that smart. I don't think he's that smart, and I 100% believe that that's exactly what he was apologizing for. To be honest with you,
It's like you're apologizing for the wrong thing.
it was just And then there was like a lot of people saying like, well, what did she expect when she came out in like that outfit or whatever? And I'm just like, and a lot of people were pointing out on Twitter, they were like, this is why a lot of younger people are moving away from the church. This is why like church attendance is down, because nobody wants to deal with any of this like slut shaming ass shit. Like this is why so many people like Bishop Eddie Long got away with a lot of the shit that he was able to get away with for so long, because you guys like valorize and like a sin, which is a sin, is you idolize these people, these false idols. Is it idolatry? That's what it's called.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, these pastors get away with all kinds of shit. Like I've heard just so many horrible stories of like all of abuses that pastors have gotten away with in the church, and people just like explain it away and they blame the person that was the victim of it. And it's like, are you following God or are you following this pastor?
Yeah, there was actually a ton of. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say in Catholicism too, it's the priests and like the I forgot what the bishops get caught in these like scandals with the altar servers, and they always like blame the kids. They're like, "Are you sure that's what happened?" And and then these kids are just like scarred for the rest of their lives, and the priests just get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and like I remember, so I was trying to find the exact tweet, but I couldn't find it. But it was something to the effect of like people were saying, "Oh, everyone is saying that they love the music and that they love how black this is and they love the celebration and they love the actual like idea of being in church, but it's the sermon that was the issue."
Exactly. Yes, I saw that tweet.
Yes, because they were talking about something about how black women can't raise like men correctly or without.
Yes.
It was garbage.
And Aretha was a single mother, so it's just like what?
Like garbage. Just ugh. And
they were even saying like, oh, like, like he said something to the effect of like the gay community needs to respect the straight community and the straight community needs to respect the gay community. And I'm like, why are you equating these two communities with each other? Like, why do you think that that's the issue, is that we're just not respecting each other as opposed to like one side is like oppressing the other? And he did the same thing with like Republicans and Democrats need to just come together. And I'm like, why are we... I was just like, I just was like, no, I'm good.
A mess.
Who wants to hear that? I just remember going to church and like all the random ass shit that they would say, and like homophobic ass shit that the preachers would say, and it's like, who wants to go and be told that you're gonna go to hell and you're gonna burn?
Thank you.
Like y'all are trying to like that shit. This isn't the Middle Ages anymore. Nobody's like going to church to hear that. We're not lashing ourselves every time we sneeze. Like nobody's doing that.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna get more people with like love and kindness than you are with all this hellbound shit.
Sorry.
It's also like sorry. Go ahead. Go.
Oh no, go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say how like, yeah, I can like if that's if like somebody's gonna do something like that in front of like a whole fucking congregation, like I can just imagine like the type of stuff that they probably they do like behind closed doors, you know what I'm saying? And like it's also like I think it's like a constant thing and like a fucked up thing of just like somebody being so scared to like say anything or saying that they're uncomfortable in a situation like that. Like she was so uncomfortable that she like didn't feel right even just like removing his hand, do you know what I'm saying?
Or calling him out right then and there, which she should have been able to do.
Yeah, and it's just like, fuck, the amount of times that people have to go through that shit, like, and like have to like, grin and just like bear it. It's fucked.
Like imagine. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Go.
Imagine like being asked to go to this event to like pay tribute to this woman who like, obviously clearly inspired your career. And then you already probably feel awkward because you feel like, oh my God, these people probably don't want me to be here. And I'm just trying to like pay respect to this woman who like wanted me to be here. And then for it to turn into something like that. And then to be in your head and think, oh my God, well, I don't want to say anything or make a scene because it's not about me.
Right.
I didn't even think about that. Like, because I was just like, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, she's probably the first thing that's probably in her head is like, oh my God, just play this off. And her fiance is like over, like sitting there too. And it's just like, you have to sit there and play that off because if she did make a scene, then it would be Ariana Grande ruins, Aretha Franklin's like funeral or whatever. True. So like, women aren't allowed.
It's a lot of pressure.
Exactly. Like I can only imagine what she was going through. That must be terrible. Like Jesus, men are terrible.
Speaking of men are terrible, there's this thing that's happening, that's really ugly trend that I'm sure none of our listeners are doing and no one that we know is doing this, but there's this really ugly trend that when somebody dies, there's these like shirtless gay dudes posting pictures in tribute to the person who died. Have you guys been seeing this on Instagram?
I mean, they do that for everything.
Exactly.
Like-
Gay men, just like anything, any kind of tragic event that's an excuse for a shirtless photo,
Like someone has, like, people have been sending me these screenshots because they know how I feel about this. And this kid, I can't guess how old he is. I don't want to go to his Instagram, but he wrote in his caption, "I cannot express how devastated I feel about Miss Franklin's passing. She's one of our most iconic singers." And then, like, it's a picture of him in just his underwear in bed. And I'm like, how is this? Oh, and then he put #respect. And I'm like, how is this paying respect to her at all? This is like a gratuitous photo of you, and we could see your, like, ball and dick outline. This is not what anyone wants to see, I guess, with that caption. You know, if you're gonna post a thoughty photo, just post a thoughty photo, but, like, don't dedicate it to Aretha Franklin. That's fucking disrespectful. Anyway,
yeah. Do you all remember when Misha Barton posted that picture of her on?
Oh no!
But like,
Did you see that Black Lives Matter?
Yeah.
I remember
While she was on a yacht.
She sure did.
Oh my!
I was like, you know what? For her, I was like, you know what? It was not the smartest thing, but I was
It was
like, it's
hilarious when she did.
fine. I just laughed. Yeah, I was like, it's fine, girl.
Oh, yikes.
I always wondered, did she want to post a picture and needed a caption, or like did she have that caption in mind and needed a picture? Like, which?
What came first? What came first, the caption or the picture? I live.
oh my god.
But yeah, just a really quick shout out to Aretha, obviously, because I feel like we didn't do enough of that during.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the main thing that bothers me. So many things went wrong that I feel like no one's talking enough about Aretha.
Right.
Like so many of the men and the pastors like made it all about them or or their negative impact on other people, that we don't get to like have this like holistic like focus and appreciation for Aretha. Because like y'all said, there's the other pastor that was talking about single mothers, like fucking eulogizing a single mother and then also condemning them at the same time. Yeah, Aretha was that bitch.
Yeah,
beautiful gowns.
And then remember, I think she also...
that should be the title. Episode 69. Beautiful. We're going to hell.
I think she also like when Angela Davis was arrested, she like came out in support of her and said that like I will bail her out if need be, and which was a big thing, and which is back then it was scary to be associated and be accused of being a communist yourself. So like she was putting like almost like her career on the line to like do this thing that she thought was right. And so like I thought that was very respectable, or not respectable, but badass. Let me say that.
Yeah, if anything, the opposite of respectable.
Right.
Baze, did you see the articles that were talking about, or like the tweets that were kind of talking about her relationship to the black church, and like how the black church kind of abandons these singers once they make like quote secular music, and how how that relationship is? I thought that was really interesting too.
Well, I mean, I feel like people now, especially once not black people specifically, but once women get older and when they're considered respectable, which I think Aretha was considered respectable, they kind of like try to whitewash their history. Like they do it a lot with Maya Angelou, who was like a sex worker, and they kind of talk about her like she was above all that. Like I've even seen people in this like use an argument, why aren't women like Maya Angelou anymore? You know what I mean? Trying to talk about like women are thoughts these days. Why can't more women be like Maya Angelou? And so it's interesting because people have like tried to do that with with Aretha, and they've gotten shut down a lot because Aretha wasn't like, she talked about sex in her music and she wore thotty clothes and like, you know what I mean? Like she had a good time and she also loved the church, and she also sang gospel music, and she also grew up in the church, you know? So, I don't know. I thought that was beautiful. But yes, I did see some of the tweets that you're talking about, Rakeem.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay. So who put this article about who is allowed to perform femininity?
Oh, that was me.
I figured. Go ahead. I knew immediately. I was like, Renee put this in. So go ahead and give us the full one.
Well, basically, they're talking about how like there's a lot of like public figures now that are like being celebrated for being feminine, and just how like a lot of times in order to do so, there needs to be this element of thirst. So these people are being celebrated, but they're also like in like kind of like in like either in their underwear or like very like revealing clothing. So it's kind of like this thing of, would we be celebrating femininity in somebody who didn't have a conventionally attractive body? And like how that's going on, and how like no one's really questioning it because they're just looking at one aspect of it versus the whole picture. But yeah, and it's just like they bring up what's his name, the dancer that does the cut to the Feeling Fridays or whatever his name is. Mark.
The white guy.
Well, he's a hapa.
No, he's
not.
Yeah.
Kane Murrah.
Yeah, Mark Kinnemer, who I absolutely love, by the way. I think like one of the first times that I was like, oh my god, like somebody that's very feminine, and I'm like super excited about it, and like I feel like I can maybe perform it myself, was when I saw him in the Alejandro video by Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and like still like I still am very excited about the stuff that he's doing, especially because one of the posts that he made, he did have people that did not have conventionally attractive bodies, and so like he like that was cool. But I think that he was brought up, and Cameron Michaels and a couple other people, because they are blowing up, but nobody's kind of paying attention to the fact that a big part of why they specifically are being accepted is because they're also considered very attractive. So.
Right.
And also for the fact that for them it's like something that they can just kind of like switch on and off too. I thought that was like a really important point as well, where it's accepted partially for the fact that the audience knows that this is something that's coming off. Like once someone says like this is a rap, or like the video's done, like you know what I mean. And like as some people that's them. Right. And so that was, I thought that was a really great point that was mentioned as well too.
Right. Because it can come off as like kind of like a performance, and then like the next post will be just them in like underwear or whatever without the wig and just looking like super mask or whatever. Yeah. So it's just like it's just very much like, okay, like this is funny that you can do that, but like ultimately we know the real you is like the mask presenting attractive one with a conventionally beautiful body.
Renee, I'm curious. Did you so I kind of took it as more like not the article, not necessarily like saying like bashing people that are conventionally. It was just more like this is a pattern that like we maybe need to be aware of, and like just kind of. So I thought that was because it wasn't even like something where it was like, oh well, like screw everyone else. It was just very much like, hey, this is a pattern. And like, why is this pattern here? And those are the articles that I kind of like the most, where it's like it points something out to you where you might not necessarily like. I never really thought of that before. Right. So yeah. I didn't think it was bashing them per se, but just kind of like, let's question this logic. And like I said, like I really do appreciate Mark a lot and like what he's doing. It's just it does. It is something that is on my mind constantly when I'm thinking about like maybe like some of my friends that like want to do something similar, and I'm just like, would they be getting the same attention as somebody who looks like that? So or even would they be getting the validation that they need?
Right.
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. So Nike has hired Colin Kaepernick for their new campaign starting now. And I guess they're doing shoes with him? Is that what it is?
So I have a question. I also read somewhere that I've read a tweet that said something like Nike's been paying him. Do you know what that's about?
I saw that as well, but I didn't want to say that because I didn't read that anyway. Oh, I just saw that this started here. I have not seen that like anything anyone has said that other than that tweet.
Okay, I was just okay. Cool. Renee, but, you made a groan.
I thought it was really smart. I mean, for them to do that because Nike is obviously going to be okay. Obviously, the whites are already acting up on Twitter. I've seen people cutting off their socks and their shorts, which, of course, that's a great way to protest. You've already bought the clothes.
Like, you dumb ass. Like, you
cut off the logo.
I'm done.
I guess that's going to do something. I don't know. But
that's why I saw that tweet of someone cut off the Nike off of their sock, and they just had tweeted it, and I didn't know why. Okay.
So you're gonna wear like some chopped up sock?
Yeah, it was all
you're still wearing
bad
Nike
shit.
socks, sis.
like, he's so dumb. Like, it's stitched on. All you had to do was just like rip off the stitch. You didn't have to cut off the. Oh,
You could also just throw them away and
Or
just
throw
go
them
buy some
away.
non-Nike socks.
Oh,
I don't know. I think white people don't know how protesting works because there was the Starbucks protest,
that.
and they, instead of not going to Starbucks at all, decided they were going to go and say Happy Christmas or Merry Christmas or whatever.
It was like you would go
to the employees.
You would write it on the cup. Like, I think you would write Merry Christmas. Like, your name would be like Merry Christmas or something when you would buy a drink.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just like, that's.
Like,
I don't think they know how to protest.
Because they haven't had to.
True.
Dang, that's true.
Like, God.
But yeah, I thought it was smart. Like, they'll clearly be okay. Like, as a brand, Nike is iconic, and I think this kind of just gives them that little bit of clout as being like their corporation at the end of the day. But it kind of gives them that counterculture clout that Pepsi was trying to go for with that Kendall Jenner ad. So.
I don't ever want to hear that phrase again. Counterculture clout. Let it kill it with fire.
Counterculture clout. Oh. Well, that was what Pepsi was going for, and they failed when they did that Kendall Jenner commercial.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So I think this is giving them, like, this is not tone deaf, and it's gonna get them, like, a lot of people are gonna be excited about this, and I'm happy for Colin. In that regard,
yeah, I'm not a fan of Nike at all, but I'm glad that Colin's actually being paid by somebody because he's totally been iced out by the NFL. So
I think that at the end of the day, like, I'm happy for Colin, but I mean, I'm not like crazy for Nike. I mean, I wear Nike, so I can't even say nothing. So never mind. Like, I am a Nike loyalist. Like, I only wear, like, for my day-to-day walking shoes, I only wear Nikes, and I only almost exclusively get Nike socks. So I can't say too much on this here podcast.
But look at you being self-aware. What do we call that? Growth. You stand.
So nobody has any thoughts. Nothing to add.
I don't know sports.
Nope. Nothing. Okay. I mean, it's not sports. We talking about Nike.
I know, but I don't know Colin Kaepernick.
All of it.
You don't know brands?
I know Colin Kaepernick.
You're gay, John. You're supposed to know brands.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna go back to the school of Syscraft and learn some more.
Yes, this is craft of faggotry. Take some remedial classes.
Oh no. Babes.
Well, I mean, I think Renee, is gonna really appreciate this next topic.
Oh, what?
Yeah, you're really gonna appreciate it. So, Azealia Banks. We really need, like, a Nikki and a Azealia, like, section of the show because we just talk about them every week.
We really don't.
This week
Azealia
on Expensive Taste.
Yes. Yes, bro. Yes, be Kent.
Renee, you should honestly start, like, your own spin-off podcast that's just about, like, the antics of Azealia Banks.
I really should.
You should
The
call
weekly antics
this
of Azealia
week on
Banks.
Azealiaball-Z, and there you go.
Yes. So Azealia has been running le mouth on Twitter. On Twitter. She's been cracking them Twitter fingers and getting them going. She outed Jack Dorsey, who is the CEO of Twitter, in a series of tweets, and also alleged that him and DeRay McKesson are dating.
Oh, wow.
Wait, what?
Oh, that. Oh.
Um.
Basically, she said that he invited her over or whatever to hang out. But he kept like being like super like, but as friends, like reassuring her as friends. And she she was like, he was clearly gay when I met him. He was obviously gay. And I kept trying to like see like if he was into me, but he wasn't. And he was very clearly gay. And he kept reassuring me that he just wanted to be friends. But I understood that he didn't want to tell me that he was gay because he knows I have a big ass mouth and I was going to tell everybody. So of course she went on Twitter and told everybody. But apparently like she said that he wanted her to do a spell for him, and she spent $2,000 on a spell to work a spell for him.
Oh no!
And
what?
he was supposed to retweet or tweet her video. Yeah, a spell. You know, she's a witch or a bruja. And so yeah, so she said that she wanted her promo, and he didn't give her promo. So I guess she's airing him out.
Interesting.
Yeah, he gave her like her like beard, or he gave her his beard shaving so that she can create like an amulet, like a protected amulet or something like that. Yeah.
I'll read some of her tweets. So she said, so when is my account coming back? Funny thing is, the true reason he has beef with me is because I came on strong in text, not realizing that the reason he was into me is because he's gay and all the gay boys love me.
Well, where is the lie?
Apparently he was supposed to tweet her mixtape.
This is dark-sided. Like
she said his house is lit. I would have just invited all the cunts for him and we could have had a good time. LOL. Oh well. Now give me my Twitter back and stop being a sensitive white gay Jack. And she added him.
A sensitive white gay Jack.
I need to go. This is
usually I would be like super anti like outing people, but Jack is a horrible person,
right?
And so I like don't care. I think he like overruled his board. They wanted to get rid of Alex Jones's account on Twitter. And if you don't know Alex Jones, he was the guy that like spun that theory that the Sandy Hook kids were all crisis actors and that none of them actually died. And it led to a lot of harassment. Yeah, a lot of the parents of those kids faced a lot of harassment because of that.
So imagine having to sue somebody because they're claiming that your child isn't dead when you know for damn sure your child is dead. And like going through that trauma. So I don't give a fuck about Jack or Alex.
I think he also like fanned the flames of Pizzagate, where they like were alleging that there was some type of like child sex ring in the basement of a pizza place, and it ended up getting shot up.
What?
Yeah, like no, white people are crazy. That's just all you need to know is that white people are crazy.
Yeah, and so Jack was sticking his neck out to protect him to get his Twitter back.
Yeah, but couldn't
not to get it back, to keep it from being disabled.
Right. Oh, okay.
Because a lot of people have been pushing for him to like disable like these Russian bots, these white supremacists on Twitter, and he hasn't been doing it. So he's like refusing to do it, and he's like claiming that he just wants to like keep it like free. But then people are getting suspended for like saying minute small things, and it's not adding up. Like make it make sense.
You know that video where that person goes, "Oh yeah, no, he's gonna do that anyway." That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I feel about Jack. I mean, he looks the type. Like when I saw, like he looks like he'd be right in with the people in Black Klansman. Like I could see him right.
I didn't see that, so I don't know what that reference is.
Oh, also, babes, before we forget, happy birthday, Beyonce. Sorry, this will be out on Beyonce's birthday.
So tomorrow is the 4th. Yes. Happy birthday, Beyonce.
Happy birthday, Queen.
She's not hearing this, but it's okay. What?
Not is it 9 something?
It's the 4th.
9.
It's on the 4th.
4.
Oh.
8. 1.
B-Day.
That's the beginning of the
Renee was like, "Oh, there it goes."
I was like, a 4th, bitch. Like, I did not know what you're doing. I'm a child.
I love the album.
I
anyway,
forgot. I had one thing I was gonna say, but I think it was Azealia Banks related. But I guess
we good.
It's okay. We can talk about it next week or we can talk about something new because she'll probably have done something else next week.
That's true.
Yeah. So I I guess that's all. Oh, no, wait. No. Childish Gambino video. That's what I was going to talk to. It is related to her, but the Childish Gambino video. Did you guys see it?
I did.
How it feels? Did you decrypt it? Did you get the hidden?
I didn't understand
I didn't
any
watch
of it.
I don't watch
it was just like
videos anymore.
I usually don't either, but everyone was talking about it, and I was just like, well, let me see what's going on.
The person who did the cartoons for it is the same person who did this poster imagery of MLK and Malcolm X doing what's it called? Fucking with dice. What is that shit called? The niggas
Craps?
They're like rolling dice like on like a street corner, and like Michelle Obama and
Craps.
Craps. And Barack and Michelle are like chain smoking, and I guess they're like all in heaven, like this is them in heaven, is like doing hood shit. So yeah, just a lot of hotepery, and I can't do it after the last one.
Hotepery.
Especially.
That should.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I liked it.
Oh.
I mean, it wasn't like super crazy or political to me. It was just a bunch of black celebrities just doing shit. I mean, I don't know. I did like how he gave like Beyonce and Rihanna like a significant amount of screen time with them all by themselves as like these like deities. But other than that,
I didn't recognize Rihanna until they put their names on it after.
Same.
I was like, that was Rihanna? I recognized Beyonce immediately because of her fit, but
Beyonce
and Nicki looked like a whole white woman.
No,
I thought it looked.
woman. I thought it looked very accurate. Like I know the exact outfit they were doing. It looked very like I could.
No, I thought the outfit and the wig and all that stuff was very accurate. I could see the pictures in my mind too, but I just thought like the people didn't look like who they were supposed to be. But there was apparently the whole meeting. I was just reading some theories, and one of the theories is that the video was him going out for one last time to see all the old heads, and I guess that's why like a lot of the children were portrayed as like the new artists, because they're going to be what's coming up and replacing the old heads, and the old heads are going to go away. So he's going out one last time for a walk to see the old heads, and then when he goes in the house, that's the last time, and when he goes back out next time, it'll be all the new kids.
Oh,
Interesting.
Which I thought was interesting. And then there was the Travis Scott knocking down the builder blocks that Nicki was putting together.
That was so funny to me.
That theory is that she put all this work and he just came in and swooped number one out from under her.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
I
don't know. But these are the theories that I was reading.
And it's so funny because, like, how recent could that have been? Because all this stuff has been going on in, like, the last 2 weeks. So how recent did they make this, like, animated video? So interesting.
They had to have just done it. Or maybe he just, like, added that part last minute. Because maybe they had Nicki doing something else.
Yeah. I did.
It would have been funny if he had her scream to freedom.
What?
I said it would have been funny if he had her scream to freedom in the video, but
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
lost opportunity.
I'm sure that the video was supposed to come out like 2 weeks ago, and then someone was like, "Hey, y'all see this Queen radio shit?" Hey.
Have you listened to it?
I was gonna say to freedom.
I tried. It was a lot.
It's like
She is shouting for like a solid hour.
I do like that she makes her own like sound effects. I guess she has like control over like the sound effects or whatever. And I do really appreciate that.
Ooh, I want somebody to take the sound effects away. She overuses them.
It's like a reverse ASMR experience. It's so much.
It's stressful.
Also,
like,
did you see the Janet Jackson ASMR video?
Oh my god. Okay, you guys, I actually fell asleep to that 3 days ago.
It was so nice.
She's never had
so
hot Cheetos.
I know.
Janet Jackson's never had hot Cheetos?
Nah,
She doesn't even know what they are.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
She knows what a Cheeto is. She didn't know what a hot Cheeto was.
Oh, a hot one. Oh, okay.
Oh wow. Interesting.
And they explained it to her. They were like, "It's like a Cheeto, but it's hot."
And she was like,
She's like, "Oh, it's like popcorn with hot sauce."
Oh, she's so cute. I love her.
Don't do Janet like
Also,
that.
Okay. I was just gonna shout out the Azealia cameo in that video really quick. I thought that was cute. I thought that was really sweet. I like no one ever really shouts out Azealia, so I appreciated that.
I wonder why. Okay.
I mean, it's a mystery, really. This is a case for the
Oh
FBI.
my gosh. This is the case. The audacity.
I'm looking into the camera on my computer right now. FBI agent, get to work.
I love when people say that. The FBI agent that's monitoring me.
Ooh, child, my FBI agent has some stories. And hopefully he never tells them.
Ooh, the ghetto. Okay.
That's gonna be it for Minutes of Color. We'll be back with the Dix Gas.
Hello. Oh, sorry. Go.
Okay.
Go. No, go.
Let me shut my nigger ass up. Okay, go ahead, sis.
No, I want to hear the French accent. You can do it.
It's okay. Everyone's tired of it.
Okay. So.
Bitch, you were supposed to humor me and like push forward, but I see how it is. It's okay, Renee. I got you.
No, go.
Go do your intro, sis.
Okay. So our topic or discourse for this
Not so easy, is it?
Be,
What?
Sorry, I'm laughing at what Bae said.
how has your mental health affected your relationships? And that could be either romantic, non-romantic, situationships, your friends, or your family. So yeah, how has that affected your relationships?
It's done wonders for my relationship.
Oh.
I've never felt better.
wow.
Pre-mental health issues, it was just dredge, you know. It was just sadness. But now that I have like multiple mental health issues, it's really great. I'm loving it. It's my best life. I've fallen and I don't want to get up.
You said I've fallen and I don't want to get up.
I'm just kidding. Somebody else go first.
Ooh, what a mood. Renee, you should go first, no?
Okay, I'll go first.
No?
Sorry, can I get some of that? Sorry. Yeah, I will go first. I think that my mental health has affected it in a way where like kind of maybe just like regular thoughts that would kind of come into someone's mind when they're thinking of the relationship to people are kind of magnified or exacerbated.
Okay, college words.
Or I guess made a bigger deal than maybe they need to be. But I used to have a really bad thing, and I think the last time it happened was 2 years ago, thank the Lord. But I used to have this really bad thing where like I would have like this thought that like whoever, like my friends, romantic interests, whatever, were going to abandon me. So there were plenty of times where I kind of lashed out on these friends thinking like, okay, you're gonna leave me, so if you're gonna leave me, just like tell me, like be honest and be real with me, like stop like bullshitting, like type of thing.
Oh my god.
Which didn't is obviously not good for a relationship or for anybody, especially the people on the receiving end. But yeah, like I think that a big one is probably self-doubt. And the self-doubt is just like, I'm really not that important to this person, or like I'm just like an option and I'm disposable. And I would say that it has affected my relationships before, because I had this really intense connection with people, and then so like it's hard for me to connect with people in general. So when on the rare occasions that I do, I like kind of like really grasp tightly and like don't want to let go to the point where sometimes like maybe I'm unbearable or overbearing. So yeah, and I think it's weird because I feel like after like a lot of after going through a lot of bullshit, I'm kind of almost on like the opposite end now, which scares me a little bit. Because I think I try to avoid now getting attached to people or like letting people in or like being vulnerable because I think that I don't want to be in the position anymore where I'm questioning my worth or my place in somebody's life. So it's kind of hard because there are moments. I was telling Maya that like, you know, when you have like, okay, like let's say people that have anal sex, you have moments, you have like you have waves of like, okay, I want a bottom, and like your hole is like gaping and you're like, yes, I want it like now. And then there are moments where you're just like,
just keep with it.
And there are moments where like you're just completely clenched, like you're just like, no, I'm not about it, and like I don't want it. Do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like I'm kind of like that with like my emotions or my heart. Like there are times where like my heart is like gaping, and ready for it, and then right now I'm like very scared because right now I'm like very clenched, like very clenched.
The Paramore jumped out right now. That's a Paramore look. My heart is clenched.
But I oh, is it really?
My heart.
She knows what's up. She knows what's up.
No, it's really not. But like, it sounds like it would be like her mind. But sorry, keep going.
I just love this analogy so much. Keep going.
But yeah, I think very recently I've been like, I guess, relaxing a little, or like maybe like loosening up a little, and I don't know why. Like it's kind of annoying, and I think it's welcomed.
So you're like an emotional bottom.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm an emotional bottom. But yeah, I right now, like I feel like my heart kind of wants to like is open to like things right now at this moment, but like I feel like because of my mental health and because like it's hard to juggle like a lot the things that I'm doing right now, like school and like trying to like stay sane and not break down because I'm so busy. Because like I'm finally like focusing on my relationship with myself and like doing really good mental health wise, I'm totally scared that like opening up romantically or, you know, what have you, to more people right now would be me spinning too many plates and then like lead back to like me falling apart again. So right now I'm kind of closed off, and it makes me it makes me sad. But yeah, and there's this song lyric, I'm not gonna say who it is, but talking about like kind of going through some bullshit and like the results of that, and like it says it hurt more than it ought to hurt, and I went to work to cultivate a callus. And I think right now just like there's like this weird thing of me tugging between wanting to be open and continuing to keep my callus there to keep my stability and mental health intact. So yeah.
What sort of things are you doing, if you don't mind sharing, so it might be helpful for other people going through similar things? Like, what are you doing to help keep your mental health in check, and so it doesn't affect other people?
I think just constantly being aware, like maybe looking back at like patterns and like repeated patterns and repeated things, and being like, sorry, and being like, you know, what did you do here, and where did you end up, and do you want to go through that again, or like what? Looking at yourself too, like, okay, maybe you felt like this person was ignoring you or like was gonna abandon you, but how much of that was yourself, and like how do you get to a place where you're like so kind of loving yourself and like kind of more confident in yourself that like even if that person did want to abandon you, that you'd be okay. But like, and then also being like, wait, actually that person doesn't want to abandon you at all. Like, it's just like your own thoughts. Just be happy with yourself, type of thing. And I think maybe it's just the self-awareness, really, just looking back at like, I think the thing that I did was looking back and being like, holy shit, I went off on all these people thinking that I didn't mean anything to them. But really, maybe it's that like you thought that you're not worthy of their love. And maybe, and maybe you should stop that. Though there are definitely cases where like, there are people that I felt like were not worthy of mine. But yeah. Does anyone want to go next?
I'll go next. Sorry, I'm just used to. I realize that you go last all the time.
Oh,
that's why I almost said that was a great discourse. Yeah, I'll go. I mean, I feel like for me, it's been more of an anxiety thing, as opposed to kind of like, I guess that's kind of like where it's affected me. And I feel like over the last few months, and I'm not going to be really long. I feel like y'all will probably have more intriguing things to say, but I feel like for the last few months, I've kind of been a hermit and kind of like shut myself in, and like part of that is because like my anxiety's gotten so bad to the point where like there's been certain times where like I've just had to like get off the freeway just because like I just can't be on it because it's like too much. And like this morning I woke up, or not this morning, last week I woke up one day and I just could not get out of bed. And it's just like when I do have time, I just kind of like being by myself, and then you feel like weird about like not seeing people as much, or not like talking to or like interacting with people as much.
Right.
Because it's like you need that time for yourself, and you don't really know how to like tell people, hey, I kind of really just want to be alone, without them kind of like taking it in a way that's bad. And it's not that like you don't care about what's going on. It's just that like you're just mentally not at a place for it, and it's hard to just have like all of that, process in your head at the same time. So that's kind of how it's been like affecting me lately, and I don't really know like what the solution is, honestly. And I don't know if there's a solution, but I guess sometimes I always see posts that are always just like, sometimes like y'all just don't do this because you don't care about people and blah 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 blah. And it's like, no, it's like that may be the case for some people, but there are like people who like genuinely just like have a hard time just like processing all that. And like I don't know if anyone else does this, but like, so for me, like when I get a text message, like I have this weird thing where like I can't, like I don't feel weird, like I have to be in like a certain like mindset to send something, and if I'm not, like my brain like won't let me do it, and I don't know why that is. And so that's like a weird thing that happens too. So I don't know. Anxiety's real like that. But yeah, I don't know if that like answers the question, Renee. But
yeah, I think it does. Yeah, I think that's real.
Yeah.
Maya? Do you want to go next?
I can go.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that like having bipolar disorder, like during my depressive episodes, I always am very isolative, and I also have a lot of anxiety, and I think also just like being Black and femme like in the world is just really scary in general. So like I tend to not want to leave my house ever at all if I can help it. And so it's helped, like I think that it's affected my relationship because it's reshaped like what it means to be in a relationship with anyone, because relationships are about like interacting, and if I can't interact with you physically, like are you willing to accommodate that? So I find that I have lost some folks because I'm not able to like interact with them in the ways that they need me there, which might be physical. But I've also like been able to like find some real gems in my life, like folks that I wasn't necessarily close to a year ago, but maybe like me moving and also them moving to a different state or a different city, and them also having a hard time being isolated. we've reached out to each other, and we've kind of created this like new way of being a friend in a world where it's really scary to do that outside of your own home. But it's also something I need to get better at, because I need to see people sometimes. Yeah, and I think also like being open about what you're going through, that I think that has changed. Well, at least I've changed how I do that. I'm very close with my mom, and she goes through pretty similar mental health issues that I do, and so I didn't grow up, very fortunately, didn't grow up ashamed of what I was going through. But I did have to learn that some people aren't going to receive that in a positive way, and some people are going to use that against you. Some people are going to gaslight you, and so I've had to like navigate who I can share my whole truth with, and who I just give little pieces of, just so we can get through whatever we're going through together. But I know that they're not the person that I can hand over all my stuff. Yeah, tough stuff, but it's worth it, and you're better for it after, if you make it through.
And you know who's with you, like, after you decide to tell them these things, right? Like, do you feel your relationships get stronger? Yeah. That's good.
I mean, yeah, if they get stronger, then I know that's a person that I should have stuck with. And if it didn't, then I know that there's a reason for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll go next, unless you want to go next, Space?
No, you can.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was going to echo what Maya said, too. I think I had done the same thing recently, where I had a friend visiting from San Francisco last weekend, and I was, like, ready. I was planning for their visit, like, super excited. And then at work, I'm a nurse at a hospital, and I made a mistake at work that affected a patient and their families, and I was like really down on myself, and I felt like the worst nurse ever, and I got in my like depression and anxiety mode, and like by the time my friend came to like it was the same weekend as Down to LA Pride too, so my friend came down, and I was like absolutely not in the mood to see anybody. I was just like, I am the worst person. Like, I fucked up at my job today, and I didn't know what to tell them, and I was just going to say, hey, I can't see you at all this weekend. And I was trying to decide whether or not if I wanted to tell them what I was going through, or like just say, just because, sometimes you don't want to explain yourself, or you can just say, I can't hang out today. But I wanted to be honest with this particular friend, and I said, hey, I'm just not feeling really well. I fucked up at work, and I feel like the worst person. And so, like, I think I made it was a good decision, because my friend was like, hey, you're a nurse, and we understand that you're like a high level of stress job where there's not a lot of room for error, and I get it. If we don't see each other this trip, it's okay. And it just made me feel like really seeing that my friend like responded that way, and not like in a, well, come out later, or just take a nap and like come out later, or like, or get over it, come out and drink. It wasn't anything like that. And I felt like that was super nice. But yeah, and it kind of like stuck with me the whole weekend. I didn't go to Downtown LA Pride. I didn't go out at all, because it just, my emotions just kind of took over. And I'm glad I did tell my friend what I was going through, but I also regret like not stepping outside. Like, I was basically in house. I did go to the Hammer by myself, but then I went straight home and like stayed the rest of the weekend home. And so I wish, it affected me in a way that, like, I guess in the way that Rakeem had stated too, like, I just hermited myself, and I wish I had like stepped out more. But I think what I had done is I learned that it is important to tell certain folks like the truth and like what you're going through, and that way like they have a better understanding of who you are as a person. And I think my friendship with that particular person has grown a little stronger because I felt like they understood what I was going through, and there was no pressure or judgment in telling them, you know, because sometimes I feel like, am I being a bad friend for not showing up? Especially if someone from out of town is coming in. I always feel like this pressure to show someone like a good Los Angeles time, like, or at least like hang out with someone while they're here.
Aww.
You know, like there's all
You're
that.
Such a good tour guide.
Yeah, and like I try to, but then like I was just overwhelmed with like my insecurities and like I'm a shitty person, I'm a shitty nurse, and then like I actually went back to work on Monday and like it was all fixed and everyone was fine, and I was just like, man, I really like I wasted a whole weekend and a whole 3 days by like not allowing myself room for error, like forgiving myself, you know. But yeah, I did what I did learn is that like it is okay to tell some folks, and I'm really glad I did, and that just to be aware that like it's okay to stay in sometimes too, and not to put so much pressure on yourself. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, that's important, and I'm glad that you can do that, and you have people around that will let you do that for sure.
Yeah.
Baze, did you want to go?
Are you debating if you want to go?
No, I'm going.
Oh.
I don't really, I guess, have like, I mean, I probably do have a complicated relationship with it, but I'm just pretty open about my depression and stuff. And when I'm feeling down, I'm just like, hey, I'm like depressed as shit. I'm not going anywhere. Or, you know, I'm like that person that bonds with other people at parties over our mutual depression. So I don't know. That's my relationship with it. I'm just very honest and open about it. So like, I don't really feel like, I guess I could say that like, in terms of like my relationship, I don't necessarily always notice when I'm failing. Like, in like my communication, like I don't like when I'm like, when I do this thing where I kind of like retreat within myself, and I become very like icy outside, and I don't notice it because I'm inside of myself. And yes, that can have like a negative impact on the people around me because people don't necessarily know what's going on with me, and to myself, like, you know, I'm forcing myself to smile, and I'm like, I'm fine, everything is okay. And everyone else around me is like, ooh, like, what's going on over here? Like I've literally had people tell me after things like, you okay, sis? And I'm like, I'm fine, everything's fine. Like, if I don't feel like talking about it. So, I mean, I don't know. That's something I guess I need to work on, is becoming more aware of it when I'm in that dark place.
Do you almost kind of feel like, Baze, because do you almost feel like if someone is an important person to you, that like they'll already be aware of it, so it's not even something that you need to like bring up?
Yes and no. Sometimes I genuinely think I'm a much better actor than I actually am, and I'm like, everyone knows that I'm okay. Everyone thinks that I'm okay. It's fine. Nobody's looking at me. I'm not making anyone else uncomfortable. It's good. But then sometimes I'm like, sometimes I feel like if something obvious has happened, then I'm like, well, bitch, how come y'all don't know why I'm upset?
Right.
Like, why do I even have to explain it to y'all? So yeah, it's yes and no.
Okay. Huh.
I was gonna ask, do you, like for example, with my situation, do you feel the need to explain, like why you opt out of certain events, or does it ever come to that point?
I mean, it depends. I think like if I don't, I mean, I usually don't make plans these days with people I don't know, but I tend to be like pretty upfront, like, hey, like I'm just not in a good place right now. I don't think I'm gonna do it. I don't think I'm gonna make it. But I guess if I were to be hanging out with somebody that I didn't know super well, I'd probably just be like, oh girl, like I come up with some lie.
Do y'all kind of feel like that? Okay, I kind of feel like the older that I get, the more that I understand that, and the more people understand when you say that. Like
they do.
I just
they
like
do.
I really think people get it, and it's actually been really reassuring because a lot of people just because sometimes they're like, "Oh, girl, I get it. We just all need to sit down sometimes and rest," and or not even just that, just have recharge days, or sometimes you just want to sit down and watch the Great British Bake Off, and sometimes you just want to go to sleep. So. Yeah.
A depression nap.
I feel like when I was younger, I say this as if I'm not 22, but I would try to curate something to say to my friend of why I can't make it to this thing, and I'd be like, do I say I have an appointment, or I would just think of this something. I would be so stressed about how to tell them why I can't make it to this when the real reason was that I just had crippling anxiety. And then even then people would be like, okay, well maybe do you want us to come get you? And they'll try to still get you to come. But even just 2 nights ago, my friend had a benefit party, and I told them I was gonna go a week ago, and then the night of at 7, I was like, I can't come, and they're like, absolutely, just take care of you. That's the most important thing. And I was like, wow, okay, let me go do that then.
That's sweet.
If you say so.
That's so real, the stress of making up the lie and then trying to keep up with the lie. It's when you could have just said, you could just say I don't feel good, and then it turns out people are actually okay with it.
Yeah.
Did everyone go?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Everyone went.
So do we have any? I guess do we have any last comments or things that we want to add, or things for the viewer or
listener?
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Remember when we were going to do a visual podcast?
Oh, yeah.
When are we going to what?
I said, remember when we were going to do a visual podcast?
Oh.
One day.
Uh-oh. Oh.
One day when Baze and I visit again, I think we can do it. But maybe I just want to say that, I think just kind of being self-aware and aware of your own patterns and actions, and maybe some therapy could help you figure out what's going on. And also I think, and we maybe talked about this before, but this is something that I kind of want to bring up, is a relationship can be toxic without you two necessarily having bad intentions. But let's say if the way that you communicate or that your needs are completely different, and it's very easy to fall into this thing of vilifying somebody. But I know that there are certain things that I have where or certain actions that a partner or whoever can make that would trigger a lot of my anxiety and a lot of my self-doubt. And I know that those are kind of the people that I don't want to be around or have in close proximity as far as friendships or relationships are. So, and it's not necessarily that X or Y, Z is a bad person, but more that you don't gel well and you don't you're not good for each other. So yeah, I think trying to identify the type of people that are good for you and that are that would help you stabilize your mental health takes a while, but I think that's something that you should definitely figure out, even when it's really hard to maybe cut off somebody who, again, not necessarily is a horrible person, but who interacts with the world or interacts with you in a different way than you need to be interacted with.
I was reading.
Does anybody else have anything? Oh.
No, I was just gonna say I agree with that. I was listening. I forgot who said it, but someone was saying that we all have we all vibrate at different frequencies, and it's okay that sometimes that you and this person, it's okay if you don't vibrate at the same frequency. It doesn't mean that their sound or whatever is the worst. It just means that you guys aren't on the same level, and that's okay.
Right.
And sometimes you don't know until the situation comes up, and
right.
You just have to figure it out from there, and that's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. But I mean, definitely identify when the frequency is so different that it's like hurting you. I think that's that's a hard one, especially when you really love somebody. I think that's a hard one to really try to figure out.
Does anyone know of any like free therapy that's been effective, like apps or something that they use, or?
There are a lot of like I don't know the exact name of it, but there are definitely like a lot of like meditation apps that like, even though it's kind of like, you know, a very kind of like, I don't know, like silly thing to kind of suggest to somebody when they have mental health, because there's a lot more things that you need than just trying to like meditate. But I think those do help. I definitely like take a minute, especially when like I'm in the shower, like I will take a minute to like really try to like at least 1 minute like breathe like intentionally and slowly and try to imagine myself in like a very like peaceful place. Which is hard because even when I'm meditating, my anxiety will kick in and I'll be like imagine myself in this peaceful area and then imagine like harm coming to me. But like I think the more that you do it, the easier that becomes, and I think that I feel like that helps me every day. So yeah, there's like the meditation apps that'll help people for sure.
Go
ahead.
Also, if folks are in the SF Bay Area, I go to the California Institute of Integral Studies at Church Street, and it's a program that uses like therapists in training as your therapist. So you're getting someone who's like going through the program, but it's significantly less money. It's sliding scale depending on like your income. And so I pay like $50 per session. And then if you have insurance, you could possibly get that, refunded or whatever. But that's also an option. And I'm sure there's stuff that's similar in other areas of the world.
Also, if you have Kaiser insurance, all you really have to do is just call and then ask to speak to a specialist about mental health, and they'll actually do like all of that for you, which is actually really great. I mean, and I know we joke about this all the time, but I actually do listen to a lot of ASMR videos, like to help with that. Like with a lot of the like there's a lot of like positive affirmations that I think are really great. I listen to positive affirmation videos like on my way to set all the time. Like
that's so funny.
Or weed. But yeah, so I love ASMR and it's great.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say that's so funny because the other night I was listening to Spotify has an ASMR radio channel, and I listened to it, and there's this one I forgot what hers was called. It was called like Valentine's ASMR. And so she basically tells you like all these really sweet things like on Valentine's Day, but like just in a whispery tone. She's like, "You are beautiful." And you are, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is so nice to hear before bed."
And it's like, it's okay if you're single.
Yeah.
But honestly, like that's why I think ASMR is so dope, because I mean there are a lot of as you know, as much as people make fun of it because of the chewing and stuff, there are a lot of videos that are made like specifically to deal with anxiety and like that kind of thing, and like there are like actually certain, they're called ASM artists that have partnered or like have worked with scientists like to like make specific things to be relaxing, and that like it's actually really like interesting when you kind of delve into it.
And then I also just downloaded this app recently that my friend told me about. It's called
Tinder.
Well, that. But it's called Youper, like Youper. And then, like, I used it the other night when I was feeling a little sad. And then, so it's asking, like, how are you feeling today? And it's almost like, do you guys remember having, like, AOL Instant Messaging? And then you have this, like, bot that would, like, talk to you if you decided to, you know, randomly talk to it? Do you guys remember that person?
Oh my God, no. So you had nobody to talk to, you just talked to the bot?
Yeah. Sometimes when I was on... When I was on AOL Instant Messaging, there was this bot that you could talk to, and it was almost like it was like before Google, and like you could just like, what does this mean or whatever, and then it would talk to you, but also like have a mild personality. So that's what like Youper's kind of like. you like use like, how are you feeling today? And then like you pick an emotion, and then after you pick an emotion, it like, what percentage of that emotion are you feeling? And then it's like, let's unpack that. Like what factors are making you feel like that? And then it's just like making you think about things. So I think it's kind of helpful so far. I mean, I just use it for a few days, but if anyone else wants to try it, let me know.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah. Does anybody have anything else to add before we move on to Male of Color?
I think that'll be it. So we will check in with y'all in Male of Color.
All right.
All right, we are back with Male of Color. For our first email, they said we can call them Satyr. I think that's how you pronounce that, Saytr, Satyr. I've been exponentially minimizing sexual encounters with men and avoiding serious suitors for most of 2018. I did it to reinvest the time that I spent focusing on dating and fucking to better myself. I needed to discover who I was when I'm not vying for the male gaze and attention. It's been a grinding process, but I am proud of the hashtag growth I've made. I just went to my first therapy session today, and he scalps me, as they do. As they do. I loved it. I know no one will ever be truly healed and beyond their personal traumas. So I wonder, how do y'all know when you're ready to date again after a long period of purposely avoiding serious romantic attachments? Y'all can answer this, because I don't know.
John.
Oh man, when are we ready to date again?
That one's hard. I think that God, I'm almost like, I think I totally took time off as well, and I think that the time off was so good, and the growth was so good that I think that's, and like what I was saying earlier, that kind of is almost making me like, oh wait, like maybe my relationship with myself is kind of, you know, is really good, and maybe I don't need to date in general. So that's hard. I think that's hard because once you really start being comfortable with yourself and like really appreciating your own stability and your own company, when it comes to that, or maybe just like company that isn't romantic, I think that one's honestly a hard one for sure.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, yeah, once you, I think sometimes a lot of people want to get into a relationship because they're feeling lonely.
Mm-hmm. And that's the worst reason to get into a relationship.
Right, yeah. So I would say, like, don't, like, you're definitely not ready if you want to get into one because you're feeling lonely.
Right.
And what Renee said, you have to build with your relationship with yourself first. And I think that once you spend a significant amount of time alone with yourself, and you rebuild that, because you've been with someone for X amount of time, and then you don't get to spend as much time by yourself. So once you spend more time by yourself, it's like and then when you start to feel more comfortable with yourself is when it's like, okay, I think someone else should share this with me, and not like, you know, not because you want to be with someone because you're lonely. Like, that's not going to fix anything.
Right.
And I think it's more, you'd be more ready to, after like you re-examine what happened in that past relationship, and you make sure you try not to make those same missteps with the next person, and also try not to, when you're ready, to not like project the feelings that you had on that last person to the new person, because that wouldn't be fair to them either.
Ugh.
Right? Like, you can't be mad at someone, like, you're like, say for example, like my last partner was cheating on me, and they had like this wandering eye. Like, you can't, and then, you know, you break up with them, you can't put those new insecurities on this new person, because they're not the same person. Right. So when you're ready to not do those things, yeah.
Right. I think that's a good one. I think when you're ready to not project those things, but also when you find somebody who is understanding and like will hopefully be able to kind of figure out ways to like not make you feel like that. Not that that's their responsibility at all, but just like, you know, somebody who is like patient with somebody who's just jumping back into the dating game for sure.
Yeah, I was reading I think it was a Tumblr post or a tweet that was like, you know, having someone in your life would be like better than the time spent by yourself or something along those lines. Like bringing someone in, they would have to be better than the time I spend by myself.
Right? Yes.
Oh, I posted that. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, was that you?
Oh, yes. And it said something like it was something like you're competing. You're not competing with other people. You're competing with I only hang. It's something to the effect of like, you're not competing with other people. You're competing with the time that I spend with myself or something like that. So it's like, I have to like spending more time with you than I do with myself or something.
Yeah, something like that. And I think I think you'd be more ready once you're willing to sacrifice that time, you know, and that would have to come with, I don't know, I guess the other factors of not projecting and not like wanting to feel, having someone because you're lonely, etc. You know.
Yeah, that was really dark.
I'm sorry.
No, not what you said. Just the question just got a really dark turn. That's all. Bass.
I also feel like.
No, go ahead.
It also just kind of depends on like how like fucked up or traumatic or like even on the other end of it, how like awesome that like last relationship was. And I also feel like sometimes you can never be all the way ready, and if you sit and wait to be like perfectly ready for somebody, you like miss a person.
Wow.
Like somebody will like you know, walk right past you because you're like, no, like this is cool, but, like I'm not ready for this because like
you're dragging
you may
me right
not
now.
always if the shoe fits. Yeah, I feel like I went like a couple years ago, like I went through this really fucked up relationship, and I was like, wow, like this is turning into a pattern. And then this last one was just like the climax of this horrible pattern that I have with people. So I'm just gonna do me, and I'm just gonna finish out my senior year and fuck everybody, and then I'm gonna move to Oakland, and I'm gonna get my healing on and all that shit. And I like purposefully let people like walk past me because I was like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not doing that shit. And then lo and behold, I went and fell in love in the last goddamn quarter of the last goddamn year of my college experience, capital LOVE shit. And I was like, well, here we go. And then it blew up, and then you just do it all over again.
Oh, love.
But that's it's ups and downs and circles and triangles, but it's worth it.
Fuck.
The ghetto.
Fuck. Thank you. Yike. Okay. Sorry, Baze, what were you saying?
That's the Scorpio in me.
Oh, I was just moving on to the next
Oh.
thing. Sorry. No, go ahead. Keep going.
No, you.
Okay. So this person says, I have recently started dating a guy who meets all the standards I've been told are ridiculous, but I'm concerned there may be some underlying anti-blackness that's not being interrogated. Just to paint the picture, I'm a black gay 20-something under the age of 25, and the guy I'm seeing is Latino and the exact same age. The first sign of concern for me was a picture he had in his profile where he has of a prayer hands, which I believe to be a parody of a nun, based on all of the shit that was drawn around his face. However, after he told me he saw Crazy Rich Asians, I mentioned that Awkwafina is the main reason I have yet to see the film. When I mentioned this, I got no response, and then days later, let me read this first silently, and then I will. So then days later, okay, I don't know. Okay. So
Everyone,
I guess they said they were going to be
enjoy this.
No, I got it. They were going to be petty at their job, and their boss deserves it. But the guy's response was just true that. I can't tell if I should address this, as this is the first guy I ever talked to that made it to the past the first date, because men are trash. I just want to know if I'm overreacting, because that's a very real possibility. Thanks for your time.
Wait, so what's the issue?
I understand why you were. I am confused.
Okay, so basically, I think to break it down, he suspects that
to break it down, the issue is that they have first issue number one is that they have a picture in their profile of prayer hands, which is, I guess, the parody of the nun. So that's issue number one. Issue number two is the boyfriend, the guy, wasn't silent in response to why this person didn't want to see Crazy Rich Asians. And then his response to this person being petty at their job was true that. So I personally, I don't really see anything. I don't really know what's going on. I don't know.
I have no idea.
Are you saying you don't see that he's doing anything problematic, or are you saying you don't see?
Based off of this, not really.
So what does the prayer hands have to do with anything?
I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know what was problematic about or anti-black about that.
Yeah.
Maybe he's saying that he's like appropriating black culture.
Oh, well, are they black prayer hands?
I don't know.
I'm wondering if it's like a religious thing, though. Like, I'm wondering if he's saying that he doesn't feel comfortable because it's like a religious thing that's happening.
Well, he's saying underlying. He framed it as underlying anti-blackness. So that's the lens I'm seeing this. I'm trying to see this through. Personally, I don't know what the issue is. If someone asked
if the Awkwafina thing, he stayed silent. Like, he's like, someone was like, I don't want to see the movie because of Awkwafina, and he's saying his partner didn't say anything about it. I feel like that's a good thing. Like, let that person have their feeling about the movie.
Yeah.
Also, too, like, they just might not have known. Like, I would have been like, oh, like, what is that about? I mean, I don't know. It to me, it just sounds like he's boring. Nothing is problematic. No shade. So, I mean, however, I will say that... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
I will say this, though. When you do have those feelings of, like, the underlying anti-blackness, I will say most of the times they're not wrong. Like, look, I will say this. I understand what you were saying, and I get the feeling where you're like, something just don't add up. And I understand what it is. And there's sometimes where you're just waiting for them to say something, and when they do, you're like, aha. And I had something like that happen. Not with someone I was dating, but like a friend of, like, an acquaintance of mine. And I kind of had a feeling, and then they said something like last week, and I was like, of course. And sometimes you just know. So I would say, look, if you feel it in your gut, then sure, but like, go with it. But I mean, I think it's up to you to then determine like how you then move forward with the relationship, though. Right. Like, is that something that's a deal breaker for you? Yeah. I've left men for way less, so.
Okay, I'll read one last one, and then we can close this out. So this person says, I found myself hanging out with quite a large group of white people a few nights ago and gasped. Strangely enough, enjoyed it. Oh, okay, go off. Despite being the only woman of color or person of color, period, in the group. Period. Well, they're homophobic now, so do we have to stop saying?
Oh, no.
In the group, and initially very intimidated and closed up. I was able to come out of my shell through the works of a couple of very considerate hosts and by our group's shared interest in Koff's new religious movements. Still, I've been finding myself in situations like this more and more frequently these days. Coming out of a very diverse but sheltered all-girls high school and into the real world, I stumbled upon more all-white and mostly male spaces than I would normally be comfortable with. And to be honest, it's still taking me a while to get used to all of this. And here I am wondering, how do the trash bags deal with things like this? Finding yourself hanging out in spaces like this voluntarily outside of school and or work, how do you navigate them? Have any of you ever had white friends in your past and current circles that have any of you had more white friends in your circle than people of color? I feel bad for being so distant to these people at first and keeping a lot of them at arm's length and taking so long for me to warm up and be myself around them. But I've had so many bad experiences with predatory white men growing up as an Asian girl in a country where we are certainly the minority. I would say that I am exactly that same way, especially with white people, especially when it comes to like being around other white gays. Like the other night, I was with a friend who has mostly white gay friends, and we went to his white gay friend's house, and we were all like chilling, and I just was like completely closed up. I was like, we were in their house, and I was just still like, bitch, I'm not going to. I was friendly, I was cordial, but I was like, I'm not gonna like invest in a conversation with any of you right now because I just don't care to do so, and like I have been burned a lot. Like I've spoken about this on the show, but like I had 1 year, I think it was 2016, where I like literally counted I made sure to pay attention in every interaction that I had with a white gay man, like a conversation, and testing how long it took them to say something racist. And I think it was something like I couldn't go 10 minutes without there being one weird. And I'm not talking about like subtle, like slightly maybe kind of racist. I have to think about like, I mean like overtly racist.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I remember for you, Baze, that thing at Pride, when we were at Pride and those white gays were passing by and we were like, oh, let's be friendly, and the first thing they said to you was some stupid shit.
Yeah. So, you know, and then right after that I visited New York, whole other state, and some guy was talking about like how Asian people can't drive. I had just met him and also did a black accent. So I was just like, you know, so like I'm very wary when I'm wary. Weary is the other one. Yes, right. Wary around
both
white gays.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
This is true. Both are applicable. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just like assess the situation, I guess, before you determine like in any. I kind of wait to hear if they say anything or how they're behaving.
Yeah,
definitely.
Well,
but like part of it. Go ahead.
No, you.
No. Go ahead. I've been talking.
Well, I was gonna go back to maybe what Rakeem was saying for the previous letter is like there, and maybe what the person in the previous letter was trying to say is that there are things that you can pick up on, like very small things that you can kind of feel at first without maybe having concrete evidence. So I think like if somebody starts to make you feel uneasy, then you're just like, let's not do that. Like a lot of I do have white friends, and the white friends that I do have are people that have shown up and like invested, and like kind of have given back to me somehow, like whether it's been housing or like money or whatever, that like understand their place and like will be like, okay, like this is my place and like this is how I benefit, and like let me help you out with something type of thing. And yeah, I do think that there's just be careful, because there is times where like you're like, oh, this person is cool, and then later you're just like, oh fuck, wait, actually. And yeah, like something as simple as like, I don't know, like I'll use the example of like Trixie Mattel. I never liked Trixie Mattel ever. And like I knew there was something off, even though maybe she didn't say anything specifically like intense. I knew that there were like maybe some things that she would be able to say that were racist, even though she hadn't said anything yet. And then she said the shit about the Asian man on the plane, and then she went ahead and said the shit about that cotton picking comment or whatever. And I think the same can be said with like friends or people. Like sometimes if you're like leaning towards like, I feel like this person probably follows this school of thought, even if there's not like direct evidence in the beginning, sometimes you're just like, oh, like you just get weird hints, and then eventually like, or like, oh wait, okay, I was right.
I feel like I grew up with way more white friends than people of color, just because I was trying to survive. But there are so many times that like they would say some dumb shit, and I just had to go along with it. And like now, because of how traumatizing and how much that sucked, I just have no tolerance for that anymore. So the white friends that I do have already have the knowledge, have already been checked, have already probably been called out by another black person. So, like, the things that we talk about, the things that I go through with them, it's not the same because they've kind of already been through the things they need to be through to be able to be in this friendship or relationship with me. Whereas before, I was, like, just letting white people say anything. I also feel like you have to remind yourself that the personal is political. So, like, little things matter, too, and, like, words are violent, too. And so when you're in these groups of friends and they say some shit, like, try not to gaslight yourself or make it seem like it's not that big of a deal, because it is. And all it's going to do is get worse, because what they're doing is seeing how far they can go with you. And so when they see that you are passive to this remark, they're only going to go to level 3. And it's only going to get worse and worse and harder to, like, combat later. Also, just try not to have white friends if you can. Preventative measures, harm reduction.
Did they mention, Baze, if it's like this is an issue in the workplace too? Because I was gonna say, if this is happening at work and you find yourself, I just recommend like being a little pageant about things.
Well, they said specifically they're asking about outside of work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
All right.
But, they also asked, what was it? How do you navigate them? And have you ever had more white friends in your past and current circles than people of color? Never in my life.
You're saying
have, never will.
Never seen that, never tasted that.
Don't know what it is.
Yeah. You know what though? So like, I actually surprisingly didn't, but when I was younger, I hung out with a lot of like Asian people, and it was still interesting. It's not the same as like whiteness per se, but like I did get a really specific taste of anti-blackness, if that makes sense. So, I mean, even sometimes I've told the story on the show before, like how my best friend from high school, like when I first went to his house, like his aunt didn't let me in the house, like, and it's like, it's stuff like that. So it's just like, now it's like, you know, like Maya was saying, everyone is checked. So most people are checked. So that doesn't really happen now, but yeah, I get it. So, I think that's gonna wrap it up, right, Baze?
Is that all we to wrap it up?
All right,
and thank you for being here, Maya. Where can we find you? You want to say your Twitter?
OMG, yeah, my Twitter and my Instagram are the same thing. It's 16 and A-N-D and then Poignant, Poignant. Yeah.
And then she performs around the Bay Area.
That's not true. I performed one time.
One time, but we'll continue to do so.
Yeah.
So to look out for that.
Yeah.
Yay! Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm a huge fan of Rakeem and Baze when y'all call each other niggers, and then also
oh my god!
And then also when you accuse John and Renee of calling you niggers. It's my favorite part of any episode.
It's our favorite skit. It's our favorite skit.
You know the thing is,
you know what? They did actually call us niggers.
That's what I was about to say. It made
I
you
believe
joking,
it.
but they do it.
So there you go.
Oh my god!
Spread that around the Bay Area.
Oh my
Renee
god!
says the N-word.
Stop it! Stop,
girl. You gonna have the Bay Area-ites after you.
I'm done.
The drama. So with that, one again, happy birthday, Beyonce. Absolutely. You can find us on Twitter at Trash of Color. You can find us everywhere else at Podcast of Color. Send in your honey roast questions, messy questions, life advice, anything to podcastofcolor@gmail.com. And before we go, does anyone have any thank yous this week?
Well, we know you do.
Thank you to Young Space for featuring my work there and interviewing me for your online art space. I really appreciate that. And also just to all the people that I've been meeting that's been really supportive of the show with Ramon. And it really means a lot. And it's really like our first thing that we've been doing as like artists in LA. So, or at least for me. So I'm really appreciative of all of the support that y'all have been giving me. It's really, really, it means a lot. So yeah.
Aww.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyone else?
I did want to say, I asked on Twitter, but I want more answers. So if you can respond on Twitter, you can even respond under the preview for this episode on Instagram. What discourse topics do you guys want to hear us cover that we haven't already?
Yes.
Let us know.
We'll also do one of those question things too, and y'all can answer on there. So
True. Oh, right. That would be smart. Yes. Okay.
We got you. We got y'all. Okay.
Is it okay? Is okay, Issa?
Thank you. Okay. And with that, we will see y'all next week.
All right.
All right.
This podcast is executively produced by Aaliyah J. Daniels, LaShawn McGee, Damian Pelliccioni, Christopher Rodriguez, John Kagandahan, Hakeem Cunningham, Baze White, and Renee Hernandez.